Every office operates differently with how they take patients through their first appointments in their office. This video is going to go over a general idea of how you can navigate a day 1, day 2, and day 3 appointment in Chiro HD, but by no means is this saying what your office needs to do or the only workflow that we support in certain areas. Every office is going to operate differently. This is just a general idea so you can see what it would look like in Chiro HD or certain steps to take. I will not touch on every feature that an office can use during this process. I will highlight some at the end of this video. But again, this is just a quick general overview. To schedule the new patient appointment, you're going to click on any open slot on the calendar when you're on that time frame that you want to schedule that patient. You're going to click on New. You can select the case type. I'm going to stick with cash. It will default to your first new patient appointment that you've set up in your office. So if you have maybe a new patient PI or new patient pediatric, you can change that here. I'm just going to select mine as new patient. I'm going to fill out the name. You can fill out these other fields if you would like. You would want to fill out a phone number so you can contact the patient and the patient can receive text reminders. I'm going to fill out the email. This box is checked because under Settings, Office Configuration, I have new patient emails turned on, meaning I've set up a new patient email template at the system level, and that feature is enabled, and so we'll automatically send the new patient email template when I schedule this appointment. My office has to require referral source, so I'm going to put the referral source, we'll say Facebook. I can fill out any additional information here. Patient notes, this will be the blue box. And this will be a note on the appointment. This just stays on the appointment itself. It does not travel across appointments. I'm going to hit schedule. If I hit create patient only, that will create the patient profile. It will not schedule an appointment. So say you're on the phone with a patient and you're getting their information, but they're not exactly ready to schedule yet. You can still create their profile using this button, but you don't have to schedule the appointment. But I'm going to go ahead and do both. So when I hit schedule appointment, it will create the profile and schedule the appointment. So here's my new patient appointment. If I hover over it, I can see appointment notes right here. If I click on it, that patient's notes in that bottom left box, that will fill out this patient notes box. So at this point, I've scheduled the new patient appointment. You should have your office set up to have automatic text reminders going out. So we'll say that it's the day of the new patient appointment. This patient should have already received a new patient appointment reminder, as well as that new patient template, email template. The patient could have confirmed their appointment or not. What you would want to do on the day of the appointment is click into the patient, their documents tab, and see under digital submissions if they have completed their digital paperwork. We offer a base intake. We don't offer any waivers, but we offer base digital intake paperwork that you can send along with that email template. So if that patient fills out that link, it will send their paperwork into their patient profile. So I see this patient has not filled out paperwork, so I'd probably ask them to fill out paperwork once they came into the office. When this patient arrives, you would click on this drop-down arrow on the appointment on the calendar, arrive the appointment. At this point, the patient can fill out paperwork, take ID, whatever you need to do on the appointment before the doctor sees them, you would do that, but just make sure the appointment is arrived. Everything administrative-wise can be done at the beginning of an appointment. This is your office's call. If I want to take a payment at the beginning, I can go to transaction. Say they have a Facebook special. I have a preset set up for my Facebook special, which will enter my charges. Again, either your front desk or your doctor can enter charges. I am not saying this is how you have to do it, but this is an example. On this appointment, this patient is receiving a new patient brief and 2 x-rays. and they get a discount. And I want to add payment. I'm going to change this to cash. And we'll say that this patient is paying $21 in cash. So at this one swoop, I am adding in the charges and the payment. Hit submit. At this point, again, the administrative actions can be done at the beginning or the end of the appointment. That's up to you. But now the doctor needs to see the patient and create their SOAP note. So on the doctor's end, they would go to SOAP provider mode, or patient chart, or patient mode, but I'm using provider mode. They will click on the patient in the arrival queue. Here, the doctor will add their SOAP note. If it is going to be standard for your doctor to add charges instead of the front desk, they can click into this charges box and add the charges from here. I'm going to submit the SOAP note. So at this point, the doctor has seen and treated the patient and submitted the SOAP note. The front desk has add charges, or the doctor has added charges. They have received payment. And now the next thing would be, before the patient leaves, is to make sure they're scheduled for their second appointment. You would toggle either choosing the date picker or clicking through the dates to schedule them for their second appointment. I'm just going to scroll further today and schedule the second appointment. This is not how you do it, it's just I want to show you on this current calendar. So if I have this patient selected and their snapshot is on the left-hand side, when I go and click on a date on the calendar, it will automatically pull up my patient since they are the one I'm actively on. If I do not have anybody selected and I click on a spot on the calendar, I have to search for the patient's name. So I'm going to select Jim. I'm going to collect, say this is Tuesday. It's not today's calendar, say it's Tuesday. I will click on the time that they want to schedule their appointment. And you see how it defaults to the patient's profile that I have pulled up. At this point, maybe my day 2 is called my report of findings. I would go ahead and select schedule appointment. Again, you would have your automatic text reminder set up. And so in between their first and second appointment, they should receive an automatic reminder. This is features that you have to set up. You have to set up all the text messages that you would like to go out, but they can go out automatically. So let's pretend that this is the patient's day 2 appointment. They walk into the office, you greet them. You can arrive the appointment manually. Now, once the patient has come into your office, patients can use a check-in device at the front desk, maybe a tablet, and you would set up the check-in device for the patient to type in their phone number, and it can arrive their appointment for them. So you don't always have to manually arrive, but of course for probably the first 2 appointments you do, because patients don't know what to do when they're new in your office. So maybe that's part of your new flow with a patient, is teaching them eventually how to check themselves in. If I click on the appointment, I can see that this is my report of findings. I have a feature turned on to add task lists into this patient when the new patient appointment was scheduled. I will go over or touch on that at the end of this video. At this point, the front desk can take payment, again, before or after the doctor has seen the patient. But let's just say the front desk is putting in the charge for today and the payment. I have a preset set up for day 2. Again, this includes the group of charges that I would typically always charge on my report of findings. So that's the receiving their adjustment and their report code. Let's see, on this, with this promotion, as an example, for this office was covered in the original payment. But say they are not on a promotion, you're charging. These would not be 0. You would have everything set up to have charges, and the patient would make a payment. So let's say These are actually charges. Then I would put in, if you collect on the second day, what the patient owes. Now that all the administrative stuff is either done at the beginning or the end of the appointment, the doctor still needs to see the patient. Again, they're going to go to the SOAP note screen. The providers pretty much live on the SOAP note screen. They will select the patient out of the queue. At this point, the doctor can go over the findings that they've had with the patient. If there are x-rays uploaded, they can do table talk and talk with the patient over their x-rays as an example of what that would look like. Let me pull up a different patient that has x-rays. So you can see this patient has x-rays uploaded, so the doctor can click and do a table talk and talk through of what they see on the x-rays for this patient. I'm going to go back to our original patient. So as the doctor is doing their table talk and adjusting the patient, they may be going over their care plan, or maybe that's after everything. But the doctor still wants to add their SOAP note. So here I have my SOAP note. I want to submit. At this point, like I said, the doctor can go over a care plan suggestion with the patient or what they're recommending for their care. Don't know when that will happen for your office, at what point in the appointments. Then bulk schedule out the patient. So if you click on this bulk scheduler icon, you can select either from a template that you set up, or say they want to come in for 24 visits. So it said they agreed to a corrective care plan. The template that I've set up at the system level tells me that the first phase is 18 visits, come in 3 days a week. Next phase is 8, 2 days a week, and then the last one is 12 more visits at 1 day a week. So I would go ahead and select the options that the patient tells me. And then I'm going to click check appointments. This will check if there's any issues with the appointments that were scheduled, meaning if you're closed for the day or the slots are overbooked. Also, with the template that you can set up at your system level, it can automatically select that certain number of visits that appointment should be a re-exam. Maybe the 24th visit is an x-ray. You can have that set up in a template. And you're going to click schedule appointments. Now I bulk scheduled this patient out for all their appointments. You do not have to bulk schedule. It is encouraged, but you don't have to. You can just schedule the patient for their next appointment if you would like. Depending on everything that you have going on for your day 2 appointment, you may have more tasks to complete versus what I'm showing. That is up to your office. But the same concept, the appointment would be arrived. Depending on your office, either the front desk can put in the charges for the day or the doctor can. So if the appointment is arrived and the doctor will see the patient, they will enter their SOAP note. And let's say the doctor's the one entering the charges, the daily charges for the day. They would click into this charges box. Say they did a 3 to 4 region adjustment and the patient did mechanical traction and manual traction. If I hit apply changes, this will add those charges, but it's also going to ask me if I want to save these as default charges. Default charges on the case means that every time the doctor posts a SOAP note from the SOAP note screen on the same day as the appointment, it will apply the default charges. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save these as default. And then at this point, the doctor I have my charges in, I have my SOAP note, I can hit submit. As far as what the front desk will do, they need to click on the appointment and verify that charges have been entered in for the day. They will appear as green on today's charges. The appointments, again, this is today's appointment, so it's in green, but the front desk would need to confirm that the patient has a upcoming appointment scheduled, because you want to make sure they're coming in, and that charges were in for the day, and that there was a SOAP note entered. You really don't want to complete an appointment unless there are charges in for the day, there's a SOAP note in for the day, and the patient has a future appointment scheduled. I do have autocomplete appointments turned on. Your office does not have to, but make sure you're double checking yourself that there is a SOAP note, charges, and appointment. But you definitely don't want to complete appointments if they do not have SOAP notes entered or there are not charges, because that appointment is truly not completed. If I need to take payment as a front desk, as I'm verifying that charges are in and that the patient has an appointment coming up, I can hit payment and take the payment for whatever the patient owes that day. I can see down here, this is what my patient owes. If I look at their ledger, they have various charges, so accumulatively all the charges from today they have a balance of $150. So if I'm checking out the patient, I can see their balance right here, and I know I would need to collect $150. Your office can also have patients set up on reoccurring payments if you are integrated with one of our integrated merchant services, or you can take payment at time that services are rendered. This is just a general, quick overview of maybe what a day 1, day 2, and day 3 appointment looks like. I highly encourage you to go through the ChiroHD Academy, as it fully trains you on the software and goes into all the various features that we have. If you're at your system level dashboard, you can go to system settings. Here are various templates that you can set up to help your office. So if you want it to automatically send that new patient email, you would have to create an email template. If you want a care plan template set up, patient alert templates, task list templates, all these options are features that you can use to be more efficient in your office. But again, I highly encourage you to look at the ChiroHD Academy for more training videos on each subject, as I'm not going to go in depth in this. But there are different features that can help automate and increase efficiency in your office. But this is just a general overview of kind of what day 1, day 2, and day 3